Yep, that works. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the workshop. I hope everybody is doing well. Now, we have a fully functioning prototype Moxon Vise, a CamLock Moxon Vise completely made from timber. We don't need any metal parts to build this. Strong clamping force. You can clamp this to the top of your bench. You could use clamps, hold fast, just like a traditional Moxon Vise, and you have a powerful clamping force. As you've seen in the opening of this video, when I went extremely red in the face, I almost busted a blood vessel trying to pull that piece of timber out of this vise. So it's working well. I've been using it and I'm happy with it now, so I'm going to show it to you guys so that you guys can build it yourselves. Again, it's extremely simple, just like the leg vise. I'll talk you through it. I won't go through the whole build process because it's very similar to the leg vise build. Again, it's just 3/4 birch ply. But the idea is good, the concept is good, it works. It's easy to make, so anybody should be able to build this now in their home workshop. If you're looking for a vise, a Moxon style vise that you can bolt onto your bench or strap onto your bench, this is how you're going to do it. Now, I like this so much that I'm going to build a hardwood version of it. I'm going to make it from maple and walnut, I think with some mahogany pins, and make a really nice one. So that'll be an upcoming video. For now, I'll take you through this build. We have a fully functioning CamLock prototype Moxon vise. Let's do it. Right guys, here is the vise in question. Now before I get into it, let me just explain the whole point behind this. All the subscribers who've been following along, they know the story. But anybody who's new here and might be watching this video, you're asking what's the purpose of this? Well, the whole idea, just like the CamLock leg vise, was to set out and build a vise completely made from timber that anybody could build in their workshop. Any hobbyist or any woodworker could build themselves a Moxon vise or a leg vise completely from a sheet of plywood or from any hardwoods that they have. No metal parts required, no welding, nothing like that. And it's cheap, cost effective and strong. I don't want woodworking to be for people with money only. It is an expensive hobby. It's a bloody expensive to buy these tools, these hand planes, the saws, all the machines, everything costs money, so it shouldn't be a barrier to entry to anybody. And a nice woodworking project completely made from wood, a strong vise, that's the point. That's why there's no screws, that's why we're trying to set this out. So if you can keep that in mind for this video, we'll get through it and yeah, let's go through the vise now itself. Okay guys, here is the prototype vise then, and just like our leg vise, it's made from 18mm or 3/4 inch birch ply, and it's actually made from the leftovers from the leg vise. So for the price of a sheet of plywood, you can build yourself a leg vise for your bench and a Moxon vise for your bench, and in and around 60 to 70 euros for a sheet of 3/4 birch ply. That's not bad, you get two vises out of it. So very, very simple principle. Again, it's 2 cams rather than 1, and we have pins in our tenon arms in the back. As we put in our piece and slide our cams forward, that pulls the 2 tenon arms forward. So we just use 2 pins in the back to lock them, and then the force of our cams push into the front of our vise, and that's what gives us all that clamping pressure. Now, any of you guys who subscribe to this channel already will have seen this vise already bolted to the bench, and you will have seen a bar between the 2 tenon arms. I've got rid of that bar. Now the 2 tenon arms and 2 cams move independently, just because on a standard Moxon vise with the screws you can clamp a wedge piece, and so I decided it would actually be good if we could do that with this vise too, and we can. So we have a few degrees there which we can capture, that we can clamp an actual angled piece or a wedge piece of timber in this, as well as a standard Moxon vise. So it's nice and handy. So what I'll do now is I'll disassemble it. I'll show you all the component parts and how we put it together and how you make it. Let's do it. Okay guys, here is our first set of components. So we have our 2 cam arms and our 2 tenon bars, or 2 tenon arms. nice and simple. I've been through all this on the leg voice build, so if you want to go back and watch that series, I'll go a bit more in depth into it, but for now I'll just give a quick explanation. So my cams is a 20mm hole, so I start with my 20mm hole or whatever size hole you're going to use. So it's roughly a 3/4 inch hole if you're on the imperial measurements, and you work from your hole length. So from the top of this hole here, it's 15mm, and then out to the face of my cam is 30mm. So I like to keep the face of my cam 2 to 2.5 times this measurement. That allows me to draw my cam then. It's nice and simple. It's not an exact science. So just remember that ratio. If you measure up from your hole, whatever size you want to go with. Again, the size of your cam will decide on this measurement, but 15mm for this size voice is plenty, and then 30mm out to your face. Cut them slightly oversized, and then work them back down until they're working, and then you can use this as a template to cut out your second set. So just glue them together, drill straight through the whole lot, take them to the bandsaw, and you can cut out the exact same shape again. So again, nice and simple. Keep this distance 2 times to 2.5 times less this distance, or this distance will be 2.5 times more this distance. So again, 15mm, 30mm. Hopefully I've done a good job of explaining that. Okay, quickly onto the tenon arms, and these are very simple and straightforward. Just a rectangular piece of material. Drill your 20mm hole or your 3/4 inch hole for your cam up the top, a 45-degree cut back then. That allows your mechanism to clear itself. Again, 45 degrees for the handle inside in the cam as well. And it all goes together and works. Then we have a series of setback holes. So just take your sliding bevel and mark back holes. So what I've done was 20mm intervals, squared up a line at 20mm, or say 3/4 inch the whole way along. Then take your sliding bevel from that same mark and just draw a line up, and everywhere those lines intersect, drill a hole. That'll give you an angled row of holes angled back the way, so you cover all your in-between measurements. So you have this hole is just forward of this hole, and so on and so on. It's a nice and simple concept. So that's the tenon arms. Let's move on. Okay, onto the main part of the voice. Now this is extremely simple. The front part of your jaws is just 2 pieces of 18mm ply glued together. Mortised out your 2 pieces then for your tenon arms. That's nice and simple. Little chamfer on the top, little decorative chamfer. Always looks nice on a voice. Then the back piece, I have it just made from offcuts. Now, I would build this differently if I had a full sheet of plywood in the shop. I would make this from 3 pieces of ply glued together, and all these pieces would be part of the main pieces. So I would cut it so that it comes out like that, glue that together. These are your outriggers, or I suppose the feet of the voice, of the Moxon voice, that you clamp to your bench. I would have this part be the part of these, so I didn't have enough material to do that, so I had to just glue and screw this whole mechanism together. So it's a bit, like I say, it's only a prototype, but if you're going to build this at home, make these all part of the one piece. Make this 3 boards thick and have your feet just coming out at the end. Nice and simple, and then it would be good and sturdy. The problem with doing it like this, gluing or screwing this base on, is that there's a little bit of flex in it, just a small little bit, and you don't want any flex in your Moxon voice. That's the whole point of them, is that they're good, strong and sturdy for when you're cutting and doing dovetails and stuff like that. You don't want any movement or any vibration in that voice. That's the beauty of the Moxon voice. So, nice and simple. If you're going to make it out of plywood, which there's no reason why you shouldn't, make it from 3 pieces laminated together, and make sure that these are part of this, and you should be good to go. Let's get it reassembled. Okay, here's a look at the back of the voice. I'll just give you a look of it in operation. It's extremely simple to use. Again, it's a very basic system. It's just using the pinholes. I'm using 2 cuts of 10mm threaded rod here. You could get, you can make the hole slightly bigger, make it from mahogany, so slightly bigger piece of mahogany would work, or any piece of brass rod, anything you can get that's in around a 10 to 12 mil thick, you will be good to go. So again, very, very simple. Lift up our arms, pull out our vise, take our piece of wood, clamp it in, just hold it there, shove in your 2 cam arms, and then put in your pins. Nice and simple, just like that. Now, you want to put your pins in a hole that's back slightly from the back of the vise. So there's a hole here that's right up against the vise. Don't do that because it'll be way too much force in those cams. So you want to allow a slight bit of movement in your tenon arm for that cam to rotate around. Then you can just lock it down, nice and simple, just like that. And I have a hole right here in this bar and I can't get this out. So if I grab an actual bar and put it through that, yeah, it's a hell of a lot of force to get that out, so it is really wedged in there. And bearing in mind, that's timber on timber, so there's no leather or no cork in that. So it's more than enough clamping force, and it's good and solid. So nice and simple principle. Now, a nice little thing about this, it's quick and easy to use once you have it set up. So now I have the measurements for this board set up. Now usually if you're making something, you're making a cabinet or you're making drawers or anything like that, all your timber is going to be in and around the same dimension or pretty close to it. So once it's set there, this is 18 millimeters, this will do up to about 1 inch now, so no problem. So it's 3/4 of an inch, it'll do up to 1 inch without moving those pins. And it's nice and simple just to lock that board in. And if I want to grab that board, go somewhere else with it, you only have to open one cam and it comes out. Stick it back in, lock down one cam, and it's wedged in there again. So just, it's nice, quick, simple. If you want to change a piece, rotate it around, start cutting your dovetails on this side, no problem. Leave this cam locked or this cam locked and just operate it with one cam, like nice and simple, in and out. And like I say, that gets a serious grip on that. And the beauty then of the Moxon Vise, it's clamped to the top of your bench. It has raised your work up, so it's at a nicer working height. You're not down on a vise, bending over with your back. It's up a little bit higher. That's the whole point of the Moxon Vise, really. It's a vise that you can put onto your bench when you're doing dovetails and you want to get close to your work, you're doing fine work, and you need that stability. So you have that back and forward motion cutting in your dovetails and stuff. And this is fixed to your bench, so it's good and solid. And it's a nice heavy portable vise. Just take it off, put it away when you're not using it, bolt it onto your bench when you want it. There we go, nice and simple. Right then, there we go. That is the fully functioning Moxon Vise prototype CamLock system, just like the leg vise. It's working really, really well. It's nice and easy to clamp on and off your bench. If you had a set of holdfasts, you'd have it on the bench in no time. So you can take it on, put it off when you need it, it's there. When you don't need it, take it away. If you're in a tight space, if you're sharing the garage or your workshop with someone else or a car or anything, there's a vise that you can set up on your bench and take it away when it's not been used. Some of you guys said you loved the leg vise, but you haven't the room in your workshop or in your garage or in your shed to put in a leg vise like that. Well, then there's a removable Moxon vise now that you can make the same as the leg vise from a sheet of plywood. Nice and simple, really, really easy to make, and you have yourself a powerful vise. No screws, no welding, no expensive bench equipment, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it so much, like I said at the start of the video, I'm going to build a hardwood version of this now. So I'm going to make it from maple and walnut. It's going to be a maple vise, walnut tenon arms, and then we might do 2 nice walnut handles for the cams themselves, a little bit of brass in the front for the cams to slip on just like the leg vise, and then I'm going to probably get 2 nice brass bars for the pins in the back and make it really nice, because as a vise to use, I'm loving it. I'm loving that leg vise, and like I say, the cost of doing woodwork should not be a barrier to anybody doing woodwork. So there's a cheap vise. There's 2 cheap vises, and there's no reason why you can't have a leg vise now and a Moxon vise for the price of a sheet of plywood. So there you go, guys. I hope that was useful for you. Any questions, be sure leave them below. I will always get back to you. There will be an upcoming build of this in hardwood, so if you're not sure of anything, that will be upcoming. If you're not sure of anything, just ask me below. It's very, very simple. It's very basic. There's not much explanation. You can go back and watch the leg vise. There's 3 videos on that leg vise that'll explain all the concepts that are in this. It's the same process that I used building the leg vise as I used to build this. We just have 2 cams and 2 tend arms rather than 1. And yeah, that's it. So there you go, guys. A prototype CamLock Moxon vise to go with the leg vise. Hopefully you've enjoyed that. Hopefully that gets you all woodworking now. And woodworking doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be fancy. And it can be kept nice and simple. So there you go. I'll get out of here now, guys. I shall see you in the next one. Take it easy.